Alright guys, so I'm pretty excited to share this row variation with you. This is something I've been using for probably the better part of 4 or 5 months, really enjoying it. I didn't make it up, I'm sure of that, as anything that you think you've made up. If you look back to the 80s or even the 70s, the Russians were probably doing it then, so can't really take credit for anything. But needless to say, I kind of tweaked this from John Meadows. I saw him doing a row variation similar to this, but it was a little bit more vertical and actually on a seated row machine with a mag grip handle, if you're familiar with that. It's just a special type of handle, but I kind of stole the idea and tweaked it a little bit, and I'll talk about the application. Essentially with this variation, what you're mainly looking for is, or what it's mainly applicable are for those that kind of sit in this depressed shoulder girdle position and you kind of have limited overhead, upper rotation of the scapula and overhead movement of the shoulder. So this is a very good variation in that the force vector, or the line of pull from the cable itself, is actually elevated. And what I mean is this variation will be sitting on the floor, and so as you're going through some reps, the cable will actually pull you into a slight position of shoulder elevation at the top. And you can actually round your thoracic spine slightly in order to get a better stretch up through the lats, which are typically overactive in somebody who has this depressed shoulder blade position. So, a couple reps, you're actually going to reach and elevate at the top, and then as you pull down, you're going to extend that thoracic spine and really focus on driving those shoulder blades together, not necessarily back, but just squeezing them together. You're trying to get a really hard contraction in your upper back. If you're feeling this, primarily in your lats, don't focus on pulling down so much, focus on pulling back more. That's really the whole main goal of the drill. And the reason why we have it seated versus a force vector in line with you is just simply to give that shoulder some elevation at the top of the repetition. Allow yourself to round a little bit in your thoracic spine. Take a good deep breath up here into your upper back. And then when you pull, as you extend, if you have air up there, you're going to feel a lot harder contraction in your thoracic spinal erectors. So we typically talk about spinal erectors as being these guys right here, where you have lumbar spinal erectors, and then you also have thoracic spine, here to here, spinal erectors, which are mainly running kind of in between your shoulder blades. So, with this variation, it's very easy to get a good breath in that slightly rounded position at the top. You're also internally rotated, so that helps to shut off the lats a little bit more. And then also the shoulder blades are elevated, which again, just helps to tone down the lats a little bit and allow you to work your upper back rather than all lats, which a lot of overhead athletes as well as lifters become very dominant in the lats. So if we can use a variation like this to help to shut them off at the top of the repetition and then work primarily scapular retractors at the bottom of the repetition, even better, 2-for-1 bonus there. So give it a shot, make sure you're seated and the rope is positioned as high as possible. And I like these for sets of anywhere from 12 to 20, even 25 reps sometimes. Just really focusing on squeezing my upper back as hard as I can. And I haven't found anything that can give me quite the same contraction as these. Definitely not seated rows or dumbbell rows, because these you can really focus on the movement. So try them out and give it a shot. Let me know what you think.